Winterfest is around the corner, which means it's the perfect time to reevaluate whether ELC, even SS-12, is still broken or is it more balanced now. The tank was introduced in 2024 as part of Winterfest and was available and earnable with the 30,000 snowballs along with the skin. When the tank was introduced, it was very, very overpowered, toxic, and broken. But since then, we had a rework of equipment, skills, and consumables. So why was it overpowered? If you guys already, if then doesn't know, it had a proxy range cam of 35 meters. So even when you're moving, you will not get spotted. They can only spot either you fire or you get close to them, that you have to proxy spot them. Basically, you couldn't see them, even if they're running right in front of you. Second, the tank was faster because traction used to improve speed. And third, we used to have a default detection time of 5 seconds, which means as soon as you break the line of sight, you would get unspotted after 5 seconds. But with the rework of consumable equipment and skills, things have changed. First and foremost, you would notice that the circle is no longer the 35 meters. It's a relatively big circle, looks like 300 meters plus. So you would get spotted more or easily. You can't be sneaky, go around and just blast people. They would see you coming. And second, you no longer get spotted after 5 seconds. The default detection time is 10, but sure, if you run radio jamming as well as smoke, you could reduce that detection time to 5 seconds. But then at the same time, if you're fighting someone that has a comm technicians as well as enhanced missile warning system, it will increase your detection time back to 10 seconds. So it depends who you're facing. So good players, if they have those skills equipped, you would not be able to get unspotted after 5 seconds, even after those skills. And third, the tank is no longer as fast as it was before because traction no longer improves speed. It only improves your terrain resistance and hull rotation speed. So that's 3 nerfs. And the biggest one is, of course, how easily or relatively easily it gets spotted now, and it's no longer a rat that it used to be and was difficult to deal with. And since then, also some other tanks have been introduced which has high rate of fire, like XM800T. And however, there is a positive point as well, that improvement that was made to this tank passively with the equipment, skill, and crew changes. First, there was a huge nerf to gun handling, and whatever tanks use the gun handling perks, they are now worse. But this tank has no impact because it has ATGM, which makes no difference how bad your gun is or even if it's broken. So while other tanks are suffering from gun handling, which means they might miss this tank now more often than they would before, this tank has no impact because it is an ATGM only tank. Second, the DPM changed. So there was a significant nerf to DPM with the removal of skill, changes to equipment. But this tank more or less stays the same because it's an autoloader which couldn't equip gun wrapper to begin with. And even then, you don't play off, you're not a single shot tank. You load 2 shells and then your interclip stays the same. So basically, because the interclip is the same, the autoloader essentially didn't really get impacted by the nerf of DPM and they become stronger. So this tank not impacted by gun handling and not impacted by DPM or all, to be honest, in my mind, autoloaders got a buff, but because of the camo changes, this tank got nerfed. If we combine everything, the tank is now not as toxic. Why do I say it's not toxic? Because it doesn't have proxy range camo as well. That was a huge problem. So it doesn't have the proxy range camo, which means it's much easier to deal with these tanks, and there are tanks that goes faster as well. And the second part is that now you have a 4th equipment slot, but on these concealed stealthy tanks, you technically have 3 equipments only because 4th one you will have to use silent driving, otherwise your camo would even be more worse. So heavy tanks and mediums, they actually have 4 equipment, especially the heavies, and even light because they don't have to equip silent driving. But tank destroyer, because silent driving or low noise exhaust is now an equipment, so your 4th slot is preoccupied. So you technically still only have 3 while other tanks have more. So this tank was nerfed in camo as well as didn't get the benefit of the equipment and of course the speed as well, and got some benefits as well. So overall it is worse than what it was before, but by no means it's weak. It's still overpowered, as I say. It's not toxic, it's not as broken, but it is still strong. It's a very, very solid, strong tank, and if it's earnable this time, you should get it. Of course, not as it used to be, but we have to keep in mind they did a terrain resistance test a while back. It's not implemented yet, but with that, what happened was the tanks in NA2 and NA3, especially the heavy tanks, they had worse terrain resistance and they were slower. That means they couldn't YOLO you as effectively. So when that change is implemented, if it is implemented, this tank would become stronger because this will not suffer from that terrain resistance penalty as far as I'm aware. So that would be a slight buff to this tank. So overall, as I said again, it's not as toxic, and I wouldn't even call it toxic, but it is definitely very overpowered. I would still, there's a difference between toxic. Toxic is something that just ruins your game where you couldn't do anything, and it was able to before because, you won't see it coming and it would just disappear. But now you do see it coming. They have to play more passive. They can't run around wild. They're different, slightly different meta as well, but still very capable, as you can see. So now, going back to the battle, we had our first battle, we did 9,000 plus damage. Now the second battle, playing long range, and look at that bloom, by the way. I am running low noise exhaust. The full list is in description, but these things get detected so easily now, especially when you're moving, and even on stationary, the bloom is pretty big. For my equipment and skills, I'm of course running all the mobility as well as concealment perks, so I can stay as unspotted as possible, but there's only so much you can do. Another bigger change was smoke no longer give you that passive boost, so that's why the overall camo is just so much worse. But that doesn't stop me. I do like to play passive anyway, and this tank still allows me to do that. Looking at the T55 AM2B, bang, 4,000 damage. Their team is getting confident and chasing, but I might be weak. Still strong though. One thing I would say though, I am running the ice skin, but you shouldn't, because you do get spotted very easily. I was just running it in the spirit of Winterfest so you guys can see what the skin looked like, but it's not recommended to run this skin because you get spotted much more easily now. And this skin just makes you stand out even if you're not spotted. So you run the regular skin where you can be more stealthy. This is more like a meme skin, and to be honest, I don't even like this skin, but just for showcase purposes. Trying to find a shot into that Gao. He is in cover. There's a term coming in, and bang, he is gone. 1566. Also, the tank has serious ammo racking capability due to high module damage, and of course the alpha, right? The 1300 alpha, it's just insane. It is just insane. If someone has taken a shot, you can delete them in a clip. So in 12 seconds, you can very well delete a tank if they've taken one shot, and the chances are you can also ammo rack them, as you saw. Loading, waiting for the right opportunity again. Our team is winning by 1 tank and 22% HP. I don't want to get spotted, but at the same time, it's not that when I get detected, as soon as I feel that he's looking at me, I should move, because it's very easy to look at me. And yep, there it is. He's not looking at me, but I was kind of dug in, didn't get the easiest shots, but I do manage to pen him sneakily. So you always win out on alpha though. It does have the 100 meter of arming distance, but the tank handles well in terms of it doesn't suffer from the weasel toe is the stop issue. And since you're fully rotatable turret, even when you're running away, you can shoot them back, anyone who is chasing you. So repositioning to the other side, we are now winning by 12%. They have made a little bit of comeback, but winning with 2 tanks. Ignore the Gao, so I can go to the other side and focus on targets that are more healthy, rather than just wasting my time onto the Gao. 3 tanks remaining. We have almost secured a win, as their medium is 400, their light and Gao does have HP. Closing it, but have to be careful because Gao will insta delete me, the Farad can insta delete me due to autocannon, and of course the Bagel can also delete me, as Bagel has better arming distance, and of course the autocannon. So waiting for my team to close it, but hovering close to them. And do let me know in comments, what do you think about this tank? Do you think the tank is in better state now with all the changes? Of course it's not as toxic, but still overpowered. Do you agree with me, or you have a different opinion? And since it was Winterfest tank, I'm hopeful the tank will be, if not earnable, at least viable this time. If you missed last time, are you planning to buy this tank, or you're no longer interested because of the changes? So yeah, do let me know in comments. And if you want to see more gameplay with the tank, I am pinning the video where I played multiple maps showcasing the road to 3 mark, and you can say how to play this tank in different maps. So that's it for this video. Thanks for watching, and I'll catch you in the next one. And if you're still looking for regiments, check out our community regiment, link in the description, as well as link to the full equipment and crew setup as well. Have a great rest of your day.